Today on Marine Life, we're talking batteries. Hi guys, welcome to Marine Life. I'm sorry I've been absent lately. I've been really busy in my business lately and haven't really much had anything to record on. Like I said, I don't try to waste you guys' time or anything like that. I try to record on stuff that's been going on with myself personally, or things I may find interesting to speaking about on topics, stuff like that, my fish tank, or most like, boats, which are my main hobbies and love the things I like to do. Today we're going to be talking about batteries, and we're going into batteries today because my battery died. Funny story, when I had my boat rebuilt, I replaced both batteries. The starting battery was the first one to get actually changed out, and I was changed out the first to pick the boat up from Melbourne. About a year later, last year, I replaced the house battery. So today I want to go into detail of how I have my batteries rigged up and what you guys should be doing out there for your boats as well, right? Like, question, when I did my research, it wasn't like, oh, just this battery and that's it. There's a lot of batteries out there, guys. Even today, we'll get into, and I get into all the AGM and all the lithium. They have new one now, lithium ion batteries, which are a boatload of money. And if you can justify spending $1,000 on a battery, I applaud you. I don't see myself paying that much money for a battery, unfortunately, because my boat is my hobby, and I wish I can go out more, but unfortunately, going out on my boat twice a month, 3 times a month, doesn't justify me spending $1,000 on a battery. Now, from what I heard, those batteries are amazing. If you got trolling motors, you can actually have to wait. You can hook up like 1 battery be equal to 3 batteries. So there's a lot of good stuff about those batteries that's out there. They hold a lot more, charge more, you can recharge more. But anyways, we're not gonna go into today as far as the different types of gel type battery or acid, AGM, lithium ion. We're talking mainly today, we're gonna be talking about is group sizing and how many should you have on your boat. So let's go into that today. All right, guys. So first thing, how many batteries you need in your boat? Well, it depends. How many motors in your boat do you have? How much electronics you have? Normally, we get into boats with single engines. 2 batteries is the what you should have, not 1. And here's the reason why. And this is my personal experience, right? What you have, like myself, I have 1 starting battery and 1 house battery. Well, what's the house battery mean? Well, the house battery means that the second battery is where all my electronics run off of, right? So in other words, my VHF, my Garmin, my stereo, my amps, I got amps really enough for my speakers, my board for lights and all that kind of stuff, right? So I'll give you an example. Unfortunately, my situation, my Garmin map GPS is actually hooked up to my starter battery, which is shares, right? So the other day I took my boat out to the lake just to get on the water. I'm a big believer in, you put your boat in the water, you get a lot more life out of it the more you use it, right? If it sits there for a whole year, 6 months, and it doesn't crank up. So when I took the boat out to the lake the other day for a test run and for getting them up ready for spring now and fishing approaches on summertime, a lot of use, and I like to run it too. It ran great, but I had no radio, no VHF, no dash, no lights, no horn, no nothing. Engine started, no problem, right away. And my Garmin worked, but nothing else was working. So I said, man, what could be going on with my boat? So I came home, I did some, investigation with a voltmeter, and I came to the conclusion that the house battery had gone bad. How that worked is I have a charger, a Genius charger in here, which I keep the battery and maintainers all year round on it. And so when I came home a week later afterward, I got a chance to go through it. We unplugged it from the charger and turned everything on. Everything fired up. My trim tabs worked again, everything. Radio, 5 minutes later, everything dies again. So get the voltmeter, and we discovered that the battery was not holding any charge anymore. Funny story is that my battery is less than a year old. As a matter of fact, on April 17th, it'll be exactly a year. So luckily, I bought mine from Sam's. I bought Duracell, and it's a 31 group size. We'll get to the second for that. I was able to take it back. Long story short, I got a free replacement, so good for that. It's about $100. It's not so expensive, and they're deep cycle, so they're sealed batteries complete, which normally should have lasted me a lot longer. If you're not going to name brands, then we get into, you know, how good they are. My starting battery is Interstate, and it's actually lasted a little longer than that, but we won't off topic. Anyways, so I'm running all my stuff off my house battery, running lights, live well, pumps. For example, for the live well, pump for the you know, navigation lights, bilge pump, wash down, whatever I have hooked up to it, lights, all that kind of stuff, amps that I used to push a subwoofer and speakers, all that. So Wood Lake, everything fired up, it wasn't working, fixed it, we got a brand new battery put in, luckily we got it replaced, done deal. Group sizes, 31 is the size of how big the battery has and its potential, like how many amperage it can have, right? 31 group size is 100 amps, right? It can handle that, right? The bigger the amps, the more time it goes, the more stuff it can handle, right? For me, 2 batteries more than sufficient. I don't run a trolling motor here, so I don't need anything else. Normally, guys who run trolling motors, they'll run 3 batteries by itself, and they'll run a charger, so when I get home, they charge up like that. But normally, I always get very hesitant of batteries more than 3 on a single motor, because then you go into the situation where the alternator or the stator on your engine cannot charge more than a couple of batteries. So what I did in my situation, which I love, is I used a Blue Sea ACR, which automatic current detection. So what happens is that it always charges the engine's battery first. Once the engine battery has been charged, it'll charge the house battery, which all electronics are running. So it's a great system. I love it. It works flawlessly. So when you get to different group sizes, A is the size of the battery, and B, it's how much it can hold, right? And you guys understand that the battery that will equal to a 31 group size and lithium ion would be $1,000. And that's not worth for me to spend that kind of money at the moment, right? So I don't see potential. But so 2 batteries are what you're looking for, at least for single. When you get into 2 engines, twin motors, you want to go into 3 batteries, right? You got 1 for each motor, and then you got 1 battery for electronics, right? Usually the great way to do is always have a battery separate for electronics, like it happened to me. Why? Because if that battery for electronics dies on you, you're still going home. So you want to have 2 batteries, because if you are on the water one day and your house battery dies, then guess what? Your engine battery will still get you home, no problem. Like what happened to me was that my house battery died, engine ran no problem. But if one day you happen to be in the water and your house battery is really good and your engine battery died on you, well, with selector switch, that especially one that I like to use, ACR on it with Blue Seas, you can actually combine both batteries together to get enough jump to start your motor. If the alternator went bad, that's a different situation. But if your alternator is good and your battery went bad, you're able to use both batteries to power up your boat. That's another reason why having 2 batteries is always a positive, right? Now, there's a difference between what they call dual purpose batteries or deep cycle batteries or starting batteries, right? So starting batteries are only designated for the engine. You could use them for other stuff. And please, and I'll tell you this right now, always buy marine batteries. Don't put automotive batteries inside your boat. They won't last as long. They're not meant for that. The M stands for a purpose. It has like extra stuff for environmentals and remember vibration of the waves, all that kind of stuff. So put a marine, I recommend putting marine batteries in your boat, right? So they're meant to handle. So again, different batteries. You have a starting battery, you got a dual purpose and a deep cycle, right? So I run a starting battery for my engine and I run deep cycle for the house, right? That means a deep cycle, you're able to hold more charge, takes longer to discharge. It can run all electronics all day. I've been in the water with my boat and I've pretty much been on it for 8 hours and it runs all my electronics, no problem. I'm talking about bass thumping, stereo going, all the stuff, just had a good time. Never left me stranded and it still works. Come home, I plug it up with my charger. Even if it doesn't get enough juice, it'll charge all the batteries up. So when I go out next time, it's ready to go. So I swear by maintainers, they're wonderful. For a while, when I first got the boat back, I actually went out 20 miles out on just the battery juice because when I rewired my boat, they never hooked up the ground to the isolator for the ACR system. so it wasn't charging my batteries from the alternator. It was charging, throwing charge out of the alternator, but it wasn't to the batteries because the ACR wasn't actually connected properly. So literally the only reason why I was able to come home. So quick story, when I got my boat back originally, over 2 years ago now, I put the Genius on it to keep battery maintainer. And when I hooked up all my stuff, sorry about my chicken, he's starting to want to crow now, my rooster. Anyways, so when I got my boat back from the original guys who did the work a few years ago now, they never hooked up the ground for the ACR made by Blue Seas. So the boat was never charging the actual batteries. And I literally went out 20 miles out fishing one time. The only reason why I never died out there was because I charged my batteries every time I came back home. So the batteries were literally being charged, not by the engine, but by my Genius charger. And it will be fully charged when I get out, so enough to go out and come back and no problem. So sometimes having them fully charged, the maintainer can be a lifesaver out in the water, believe it or not. Trust me, personal experience, it's a true story. My rear ran all day on it, so did my Garmin, everything on it, but never died just because they were charged when I got home all the time. So anyways, so just to clarify, when you're searching for boat batteries, you want to go with the biggest group. You want to go for deep cycle for your house battery that you can fit in your boat, and for your house, for your just normal engine battery, just go for a starting battery. I will look up for how many cranking amps your engine needs and go from there, right? And that's what I would do for a starting battery. People who go for dual purpose batteries, normally what they do is instead of having two batteries, they used to use a single battery for both things, which means that they're connect all electronics and engine all together. But then you get to a situation where if you die in the water because your radio drained your battery down too much, then you're gonna call for a jump. Boat US or the other sea tow people come get you because you don't want to put two batteries in. Or maybe you just don't have the room for two batteries. But normally bigger boats are 23 feet, two batteries are good like that. Like I said, I had two batteries, no problem. So I just switch. If one battery goes dead, I combine both and start the engine, I'm getting home. You guys have any questions for this video or want to see something else, let me know. I know I did promise you guys that my boat's going to paint it. And that is, he called me today. It's gonna go in any day now. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks, the boat should be into the shop to get painted. And I plan to make a whole series about how to do that, stuff like that. So please make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And keep an eye out for that video that's coming soon about me painting the boat. And I hope you guys have a great day. Be safe in the water. Thank you for watching Marine Life, guys. You have a good one.